Hey there guys, what is going on? The beta is either finally over or at least it is wrapping up very soon in Vanguard. And I just wanted to talk about my experience over the weekend, or at least what was that, like 5, 6 days that we had, which is actually really cool. We got the good, we got the bad, we got the ugly. There are some very funny things that I would consider ugly in this game, and I'm sure they'll get ironed out eventually. There's some good stuff. I really do actually have a lot of fun when I'm playing on Vanguard, and I'm sure some of you guys out there did have a lot of fun in it as well, because it's actually a very cool game. But I'm sure there are some of you out there that do want to see me shit on this game. Shark, I know you're watching this and being like, yeah, this game's terrible. And I'm gonna shit talk it as well, because there is some stuff that definitely does need work that I was not very impressed with, and we're gonna talk about that all right now. Just before we do get into it here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. We can make a little bit of a push towards 5,600 subscribers. That'd be absolutely fantastic for us to hit that. Very cool. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Vanguard beta. At the end of the day, it's a Call of Duty game. Essentially, all I'm after from it is basically you have a gun and you shoot enemies with a gun. That's all I really after with these kind of things. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to Call of Duty. I'm not super into like detailed, oh, how's the slide cancelling? Is it like the 0.2 millisecond difference? Like, I don't care about any of that. Like, I just want a game where I can get a gun and I can shoot people with the gun. Very simple. And that is what this game does allow me to do, and I'm sure I'm going to be having a fantastic time sharing all of the class setups, all the content that we're going to have up and running for you guys very soon throughout the year. Very exciting time. I'm pretty impressed with the game overall. The next point that I have to make is the map design seems pretty good overall. I'm actually very excited about making these map guides for Vanguard, especially with all of the different routes that you can take, the different lines of sight that'll be available through knocking out doors, shooting out those walls, blowing through with the map destruction. The map destruction makes the game feel a lot more fun, does actually add a new little dynamic. I'm sure all of you out there did hate modern doorfare, man, and the fact that you can just blow up these doors or even shoot through them, have little peepholes to shoot people through the doors, that actually, again, is a very cool dynamic that they've added to the game. I know Battlefield's had a system like that where you can literally bring down whole buildings for like the last 15 years, but I mean, we're getting there with Call of Duty. Maybe we'll have just fully destructible maps one day and the game will just be Battlefield 2. Map destruction, as I said, also does make the game and the map feel more immersive. Like stuff like being able to shoot tiles and they actually break, bullet holes on the map just gets absolutely destroyed. I'm sure you've played Hotel Royale over the weekend, over the beta period, and you can just walk in there and be like, hey, this is actually a nice little place. And then by the end of the map, the place is completely destroyed, which is actually really cool. I like that sort of aesthetic. It's kind of what they were going for with COD Ghost, with those dynamic map stuff changing a little bit with like the skyscraper map that fell down. That's what they were going with, and that sort of didn't really get achieved, but this level of immersion I actually do think is very cool, and it adds a lot to the game. All the classic guns that I've been playing with, like your M1928s, your MP40s, and so on, they all feel good. I mean, eventually something is going to be the best, and it's a little unfortunate that maps and guns and stuff can't really be balanced in that particular way. Everything is always going to have a best gun. It is just what it is here. Something is going to be most efficient to kill people with, and that's fine. I don't really mind that too much. Let's us make class setup videos, and that's what I'm all about here. I actually really do like the Modern Warfare engine. I said that when I did review the Modern Warfare, well, that was a long time ago, man. It allows for really tight, solid feeling gameplay. Some people don't like the engine, but I think it is actually very smooth, and it actually comes with like a decent UI that you know and you can be familiar with and you know what's going on. The gunsmith's actually really cool too. Just have a lot of points to talk about too. This is going to be a fairly rambly video. Again, patrol is something else that I love. I think this is a very cool game mode. I don't think it's anything new or spectacular. Like, it's not bringing anything that's super different to the gameplay. It just feels like Hardpoint, which it is basically. It's just Hardpoint that moves. But I feel like it is a very cool opportunity for a very cool new game mode. The footstep volume, as far as I can tell, does seem appropriate. Sometimes I couldn't hear people at all. Maybe they had dead silence, or I just was not listening, or the sound got drowned out. And other turns I did hear their feet stumping around and I got an easy kill on people. So it can get lost in the background. So a decent headset where you can pick out different sounds and sound settings and stuff like that is definitely a must-have here for this game. I think the addition of combat pacing and allowing us to basically choose exactly how we want to play the game. You want to play in 10v10, 12v12 all the time? That is mostly what you're going to get here. 24v24 Red Star is a particular favorite that I did come across. I played with the Car 98K on that game, and I did sit in one of the buildings and just absolutely snipe people. And it just felt super chaotic, super fun, very realistic, immersive kind of experience, as though it's like one of those campaign missions. I think it was from Modern Warfare COD 4. You sat in that window and you had to snipe the guy in the truck. Yeah, I think that's right. It felt a lot like that, but I was just shooting at other people trying to rack up kills. It was actually a very cool experience. So Red Star 24v24, super fun. There is definitely more stuff that I do think is good about the Vanguard beta, or just in Vanguard in general, but I actually can't think of it off the top of my head. So we're going to move on to the bad. We're going to shit talk the game a little bit. So first off, we do have the movement. It is a little bit janky, it's a little bit slower coming directly from Cold War. It did take a while to get used to it. Basically, there is just different movement systems between the games. Like coming directly from Cold War, the movement felt a bit sluggish, a bit slow. But once you do spend a bit of time in that environment, it's just normal. Like, it just takes a bit of getting used to, and I'm sure the movement will be fine in this game. As, I mean, people like the Warzone movement, and that's that, so it is what it is here. Sprint to fire speed on some weapons and classes needs some serious work. Like, the particular example that I can think of is the bar assault rifle with just like no attachments. The sprint to fire speed on that thing is like 650 milliseconds, which is just like, why? And I know that realistically only applies to like tac sprint, but when you are tac sprinting, for example, you're on Red Star 6v6 and you have to spend so much time running around, which is another thing we're going to talk about later. You just spend so much time running around, you actually come across somebody, you are not winning that gunfight because again, 650 milliseconds, that is over half a second just to be able to bring your gun down so you can shoot. Doesn't even count aim down sight, it's just bringing your gun down from that sprint, and that takes too long. That definitely needs looking at, and I'm sure they'll get around to changing some of those stats. The game would crash occasionally, like not a super big deal, of course, it is a beta and I would expect that. I mean, Cold War crashes on me from time to time, so it's just going to be something that happens. Not too big of a deal, it's something that I can work around, not a super issue. I have a little bit of a problem with the gun firing sounds in this game, in this particular beta. They are different when you do fire a gun outside and when you do fire a gun inside, which is a little jarring. Like, I wasn't expecting it the first time I heard it. I'm like, yeah, those gun sounds are actually different. And I actually found a spot on Red Star again. There's like a little spot over to the side, one of the doorways. If you are firing your gun and you walk through that doorway, it goes from the like normal sort of outside firing sound, which is quite, it's different. And then you move inside and it's just super loud and it is very, very jarring. Just walking through that doorway and then suddenly your ears are bleeding because it's just going bang, bang, bang. So I feel like it just needs a little bit of smoothing out. Like there needs to probably be like a transition sound effect between those two distances. Because if you were looking for that realistic kind of sound design where you're firing outside and you move inside and it gets louder, affects your ears a little bit more, I feel like there should just be like a smoother transition between those because it doesn't work like that in real life. You wouldn't just fire a gun outside and then be inside and then just be deaf. Like there'd be a little gap there, like a little piece of time where the sound would just be a little different, I think. And of course, it is hard to differentiate between enemies and teammates. We made a gameplay video the other day and I think I shot about seven or eight teammates, which was just ridiculous and it all happened in about a minute. It is definitely hard to tell between teammates and enemies. So there needs to be a little bit better indicators between friend and foe. All right, the ugly stuff here. Now this is stuff that isn't necessarily bad. It's just really dumb, really funny stuff again. This was the #1 thing on my list for the ugly. Patrol spawns. This is some of the worst spawn logic I have ever seen. I played Modern Warfare when it did come out, and this spawn logic on, what was it, Piccadilly, was again, some of the worst I've ever seen. Legitimately, this is worse though. People will literally spawn in an area, say one of the rooms on Hotel Royale, they'll just be spawning there. And even if you're an enemy and you're in that spawn, or there's an enemy in that spawn at all, you can just keep spawning there because there's an ally there and the game just tells you to spawn there. So you just keep spawning over and over again for like 30, 45 seconds at a time. And you'll just be an enemy sitting in that spawn. You're just killing people who just have no idea where you are. And that is hilariously bad. I know they're going to fix it, but it just felt super gross and I'm sure it's going to be fine eventually. Even when you are killing the people, you're just standing there killing people in the spawn. It just feels really gross. The next thing that I've got in the ugly is Red Star 6v6 is really bad. Like, it's just disgustingly boring. The map is way too big for 6v6 to actually be engaging. There's too many spots for people to be in. Like, sometimes 1 or 2 people are going to be sitting in, like, the upstairs, like, house bit. And then it's like 4 people left on the entirety of the map. It's basically just feels like a Naya Palace 6v6. The map is just too big. You run for 5 minutes, get into a fight, especially if you do have slow sprint to fire speed. You'll lose that gunfight. And then you'll die and you'll have to like run around for 5 minutes trying to look for somebody else. It's just really, really bad. You either need to probably have something like a Red Star Strike, like a smaller version of this map, make people more condensed around the 2 house areas, take out the big courtyard thing maybe and just have like an L-shaped map. That might be interesting, but again, they need to make that a little smaller or just spawn people closer together so there's actually more action happening at the same time. One of the other things that I thought was funny is that I saw ammo boxes. They were just dancing around, jittering. It was absolutely hilarious. Sometimes you just come across ammo boxes and they're making a terrible racket. You're like, what is happening? And you just see this box and it's just like just jittering on the ground and it's just like, that is making the worst sound I've ever heard. I just thought it was funny. I just thought coming across these ammo boxes and they were jittering around doing dumb things. It was just really, really funny. Red Star visibility is also a problem as well. I know the snow and that sort of like the wind cold vibe does actually make it feel more immersive. And you do feel like you're in a battle that actually could have happened, like taken place in the Red Star courtyard area. It feels a little bit realistic, but I mean, just because it's realistic doesn't mean it does make a good Call of Duty competitive experience. Like, just not being able to see people is not good. I can understand why they did it though. If there was no snow, visibility was absolutely perfect, clear, sunny day, you would be dominated by snipers on this map. Say you're running from like the town hall, the courthouse area, and you go across the courtyard. If somebody's sitting in either of the decent sniping positions, you are not making it across that courtyard. So the visibility is absolutely necessary for that. But I mean, just, it's bad. Like, the visibility on that map when you are on the ground just sort of fighting in general is not very good. And I would probably expect to see a clear sky version of Red Star and Gavutu for that matter as well. This is a little bit of a problem for the visibility on that as well. Wasn't as bad, but I mean, Red Star, the snow, makes it feel quite immersive, but you just can't see people, man. That's pretty much it. Like, those are most of my thoughts about it. Again, as I said, it is a Call of Duty game. You get a gun and you get to shoot people with the gun, and I'm happy with that. That is basically what I'm after out of my games these days. Just, I want to have a decent time, and in the Vanguard Beta, I had a decent time. That's all I can ask for, really. Again, as I said, there were some dumb things, some bad things, some ugly things that I thought were absolutely ridiculous, hilarious, like the patrol spawns. That's one of the most upsetting and just ridiculous things I've ever seen. I know they're going to fix it, and it's really funny as it is. But again, hopefully you did enjoy the beta. Hopefully you did enjoy this rant. If you disagreed with me, if you agreed with me, or you think I missed something, make sure you do leave a comment letting me know. And make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on if you've not already done so. If you do want to stay up to date with the Cold War Season 6 stuff that is coming out relatively soon, I think, as well as moving into Vanguard very, very soon. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!